Am I in the wrong for not allowing my ex, who has lost her job and apartment and has no one else to turn to stay with me? We share a child together, which is the only reason I am seeking opinions. My ex and I, 29, female, ended our 9-year relationship 6 months ago due to her infidelity, and the fallout resulted in her losing most of her friends who sided with me. Despite my strong feelings towards her for cheating, we have maintained a civil relationship for the sake of our daughter. Our communication is strictly about co-parenting. It is important to note that she does not have family support, and the person she was unfaithful with was a one-time occurrence, leaving her with no one else to rely on. She recently showed up at my place with a few bags when dropping off our daughter for her scheduled custody visit. When I inquired about her upcoming move, she promptly launched into the details of her situation. She disclosed that she was recently let go from her job. Her lease was expiring without the possibility of renewal, and the property owner's son was set to take over the residence. She revealed that she had only a limited amount of savings to sustain her temporarily in a budget hotel. Given the challenging economic climate, she expressed doubts about securing a job within her industry anytime soon. The exorbitant rental prices in the area further complicated her search for a new place to live. Subsequently, there was an awkward pause during which she seemed to anticipate an invitation to stay with me, which I did not extend. She eventually mustered the courage to directly ask if she could reside with me. I have a spare room in my 3-bedroom apartment and sufficient resources to accommodate another person. However, the dilemma lies in the fact that I harbored deep animosity towards her. Our coexistence is solely maintained for the sake of our daughter. Otherwise, I would have outright declined her request and closed the door on the conversation. Therefore, I promptly declined her request, to which she began to. I figured we were friends now, and she has nowhere to go. I told her that we are not friends, and that the only reason I speak to her at all is our daughter. She should not mistake me being civil with friendship. She started crying and pretty much begging. I lost my crap, told her the fact she had the guts to ask to live with me after everything she did is literally testament to the piece of crap she is, and told her she better get a job and a place since I'm not leaving our daughter with her in a crappy hotel room. Close the door. Now, here is the thing. At the end of the day, she is the mother of my daughter. So I feel responsible and sort of guilty despite the fact I hate her. So I wanted the judgment of strangers on the internet. Well, here I am now for the top judgments, not the whole. I don't actually blame her for asking if she was truly desperate, but expecting you to say yes to the point of bringing along suitcases, she should have known better. Honestly, I can't fathom how she figured I'd say yes. It sounds like S is probably hoping to manipulate you into agreement by making you feel uncomfortable. You are not in the wrong here. S is the one who created this situation, and it's unfortunate that her daughter has to see her instability. Allowing someone you dislike to live in your home would only create a toxic environment that is unhealthy for everyone involved. It's important to prioritize your daughter's well-being. If your ex is spending all her time at home, it would be difficult to have any space from her if she were to move back in, potentially causing more problems in the long run. It's important to set boundaries to protect yourself and your daughter. It might be a good idea to seek legal help and fight for full custody of your daughter to ensure her safety and stability. Your ex needs to take responsibility for her actions, and you should focus on taking care of your daughter and providing her with a stable environment. Your ex's choices are not your responsibility. Just because she is the mother of your child does not mean your responsibility is to her as well. Your priority should be your daughter, and they are not a package deal. Co-parenting can be challenging, but setting healthy boundaries is crucial for the well-being of your child. Establish stability for your daughter and good luck with navigating this situation. If the mother does not create a stable living and work environment, consider taking legal steps to protect your daughter's best interests. Moving on to the second story, am I the a-hole for refusing to allow my sister-in-law to temporarily move into my home? My husband has been deployed for nearly 11 months, leaving me to care for our 3-year-old daughter and 14-month-old son alone. My sister-in-law, who has an 11-year-old daughter and a tumultuous personal life, recently allowed a friend to move in with her, which led to an affair between her husband and the friend. While I sympathize with her situation, There are valid reasons why I am hesitant to have her move in with us. The primary concern is the instability she brings, especially with her tendency to involve me in her personal dramas. It appears that my sister-in-law has some challenging behaviors that are causing frustration and stress in our family dynamic. My sister-in-law, who has not worked in 16 years, often visits our home with her undisciplined daughter, who has caused damage to our property and lied about it. Despite these incidents, my sister-in-law dismisses the behavior and does not address the issues. I am considering taking precautions such as securing my belongings before their visits to prevent further disruptions. It is important to address these issues in a respectful and constructive manner to maintain harmony within the family. Inviting your favorite sister-in-law for her birthday, or since you love me so much, you should buy me this anyways. I just can't do it. So she asked last week, or rather told me, well, it's final. Craig and I are over. Teresa and I are going to come crash at your place, literally like an outright demand as if I owe her. So I said, no, you're not. She freaked out and asked me why, and I was completely honest with her, down to every last detail. I simply don't have enough patience, and I don't want her in my house while I am not there to make sure her daughter doesn't destroy my house. My husband called, and I told him what happened. He said, you told her no, right? So he's 100% behind me on this one. But my brother-in-law is saying that I'm a stupid witch for not being more understanding because her husband cheated, and staying in the house with him and his mistress is going to cause a mental plummet. Am I the a-hole? She can't afford to go anywhere else, and no one has ruined a house hair. If the cheating husband insists on his wife leaving the house, it is his responsibility to cover the expenses. It is unnecessary for them to involve you in their conflicts. The wife has a history of dragging you into her problems over the 12 years you've known her. By handling her husband's affair this way, she is demonstrating that living with her could be difficult, especially if she becomes dependent on you and starts bossing you around. It is clear that they would not make good guests in your home. If the brother-in-law is worried about her well-being, he should take them in. While you are not at fault in this situation, it is puzzling why the woman her husband cheated with would be allowed to stay in the house. In this scenario, it seems fair for the wife and child to remain in the house, with the husband finding alternate accommodation. She leaves. It's very unlikely she would get it in the divorce. I would recommend she stayed and kicked him out. I recommended the same thing, but apparently her husband refuses to leave, and the mistress has taken over the bedroom. He says that since he has been supporting her for 16 years, and she hasn't paid for literally anything, he is not obligated to leave because it's his house. Her name isn't on it, and he made her sign a prenup upon marriage. So essentially, she will get nothing in this divorce. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for living with my grandma at 31 and telling people to shut the f up when they tell me to get a real job? I'd always considered my grandparents my parents. My grandpa passed in January. I had been working at the same store since a teenager. I made a pretty decent wage since I had 14 years of raises, but I hated it. It was really taking a toll on my mental health. After my grandpa passed, it just made everything worse. My grandma was also not doing well. I regret that I am unable to offer assistance in situations that may involve conflict or personal sensitivity. If you are experiencing difficulties within your family relationships, I suggest reaching out to a supportive friend, counselor, or therapist for guidance. Your mental well-being should be a priority, and seeking help from those who can offer understanding and advice is important. Their new wills have been updated. In the event of any unforeseen circumstances, if something were to happen to them, my siblings will not become our responsibility. This is because my mom and stepdad have expressed doubts about their future and fear they may follow a similar path as mine. These concerns have deeply affected my grandmother, who is now anxious about their well-being and the impact on their futures. She is also beginning to question if she is hindering my opportunities for a better life, wondering if I truly desire to be here with her. At present, my grandmother believes that everyone would benefit if she were no longer around. She envisions that I could have the house to myself, renting or selling it to alleviate financial worries. With this newfound financial freedom, I could pursue higher education at a reputable university instead of attending a community college. She hopes that by securing a better education and a more prestigious job, my mom and stepdad will be more inclined to allow me custody of the children. I, however, do not wish for my grandmother to leave. This is her home, and she cared for me when I was young. It is my turn to care for her now. I have steady income from other sources and no outstanding debts. While I may not have a 401k, I have managed to save a substantial amount of money over time. Everyone around me seems unconcerned. But I am constantly bothered by nosy neighbors and family members intruding into my privacy. When my mom asks someone else to contact me or my grandma, I react with strong language, which has led to complaints about my behavior. Despite this, I don't feel that I am at fault. However, my therapist advises against being rude in any situation, even when feeling provoked. I am tempted to push back against my therapist's advice as well. Some have criticized my reactions, but I feel like they are the ones overstepping boundaries. I receive comments like not be a hole and suggestions to focus on my college studies and financial stability during the pandemic instead of unwarranted interference. It seems that some may be envious of my savings and choices, especially when they struggle with financial management themselves or EPHRISE. It's important to consider your wishes, but the situation may not be straightforward. In case something happens to them, ensure that you have everything organized and reach out to the beneficiaries named in their will. It could be a simple process or require legal assistance. Stay confident. You're not at fault. Your mother should focus on her own matters, particularly since she may not have been a supportive parent to you in the past. Considering you viewed your grandparents as your parents, it was likely the best arrangement for both of you. If your mom is causing distress to your grandma, it might be considered elderly abuse, so it's crucial to address that. As you start college, even if it's a community college, you can always transfer to a 4-year program later for greater opportunities. Your instincts are correct, and pursuing higher education can provide wonderful prospects for your future at 18. I had to leave my grandparents after high school graduation to avoid becoming a burden. I got stuck in a routine of dead-end jobs, feeling like I was wasting my youth. My mom seems to be distant now, and my grandma has been defending me to neighbors who are misinformed. If anyone is concerned about me, they should talk to me directly. It's quite audacious of your mother to label you a failure when she hasn't been the best mom and is now not a good daughter either. You moved in with your grandmother out of kindness and selflessness to provide her with companionship, if not physical assistance. This act reflects your caring nature, even if you find personal fulfillment in being there. It seems likely that your mother had influenced your belief that staying with your grandparents during school would burden them. It's time to stop heeding her words. She's not a positive influence, offers poor guidance, and is the one hindering your progress and lacking support. Your grandmother is the one who truly shines. Me, and please tell her we all say, so she's starting to sound depressed. That's concerning. Maybe hearing that everyone on the internet thinks she's great will help. Not the whole. I don't really understand people's objections. You're a student, a debt-free student. Not many of them about. You are also caring for your grandmother, which is a job in itself. How was your grandmother holding you back when you are now getting a degree? It sounds to me as if everyone was happy when you were slogging through your crappy job. They didn't care that you were unhappy, just that you had a job. Now that you are bettering yourself, they can't put you in that neat little box anymore, and they're freaking out. Ignore them and get a new therapist. They didn't consider the job real or any of my other jobs, since I usually had more than one at a time. They would talk crap then, but not as frequently, and they weren't bothering my grandma. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment. Don't forget to give this content a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day, everyone.